Hello, friends. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well by God's grace. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any updates. For years, TLC's Sister Wives has followed the Brown family, showing the highs and lows of their once unified polygamous household. What started as a portrait of a large, blended family living under one shared ideology has, over recent seasons, turned into a painful story of fractured relationships, especially between patriarch Kody Brown and many of his 18 children. Fans have watched as Garrison, Gabriel, Gwen, and even younger children like Savannah drift further away from their father on screen. Yet, two of Kody's older daughters, Isabelle and Maddie, stayed mostly quiet until now. Over the past year, in interviews and social media updates, both Isabelle, 22, and Maddie, 30, have opened up about where they stand with their dad, 3 years after the family's plural marriages essentially ended. Maddie Brown Brush, Cody and Janelle's second child, was once considered one of the golden kids, keeping a close bond with her father even after moving to North Carolina with her husband Caleb and their 3 children. For a while, she seemed like the exception to the growing list of estranged Brown kids. But in a candid Instagram Q&A earlier in 2025, Maddie admitted that things aren't as close as they used to be. When asked, "How is your relationship with your dad right now?" she answered honestly, "It's complicated. Distance makes it harder, both the physical distance and some emotional distance that's built up over the last few years. We talk, but not like we used to. I think we're both still figuring out what our relationship looks like now that the family isn't all together anymore." Maddie made it clear that there's no bitterness, saying, "I love my dad. I always will. But I also have to protect my own little family's peace. Sometimes that means setting boundaries, and that's okay." Her husband, Caleb, has hinted on the show that Kody's strict rules created lasting tension, especially when the couple felt judged for traveling and visiting extended family. While Maddie didn't go into past arguments, her tone suggests those disagreements still linger beneath the surface. Meanwhile, Isabelle Brown, Cody and Christine's third child, has had perhaps the most emotionally charged history with her father in recent years. Fans remember season 17 when Cody hesitated to pay for, or accompany, Isabelle to North Carolina for major scoliosis surgery in 2020, citing COVID concerns. That decision left both Christine and Isabelle devastated and marked a turning point in Christine's decision to leave the marriage. Now, 3 years later, with Christine remarried to David Woolley, Isabelle has grown into a confident college student in her early 20s, stepping into her own story. In a mid-2025 appearance on the Surviving Sister Wives podcast, Isabelle was asked directly whether she and Cody had repaired their relationship. She paused thoughtfully before responding. "We're in a better place than we were during the surgery stuff. Definitely," she said. "He's apologized, and I've forgiven him. But forgiveness doesn't mean everything goes back to exactly how it was. I talk to him every couple of months. Totally fine." Isabelle also shared that most of their communication happens through text and that she hasn't seen Cody in person since early 2024. Perhaps the most revealing part of her update came when she reflected on how her father's favoritism toward his youngest children with Robyn has affected her. "I think when you have so many kids, it's impossible to treat everyone equally," she explained. "Some of us got less time and attention growing up, and that doesn't just disappear because you're an adult now. I've made peace with it." Both Isabelle and Maddie emphasize that, even as their relationships with Cody have cooled, they remain close to their siblings across all 4 mothers. Maddie often shares photos with Janelle, Christine, Mary, and even Robyn's kids, while Isabelle is frequently seen with Truly, Savannah, and her Woolley step-siblings. Fans have noticed a striking contrast. Isabelle and Maddie's calm, measured reflections differ sharply from the more openly critical stances of some of their siblings. Gabe and Garrison, in particular, were vocal about feeling abandoned by Cody, with Garrison tragically passing away in 2024 before any public reconciliation could take place. A loss that continues to cast a long shadow over the family. Neither Isabelle nor Maddie indicated plans to film new scenes with Kody for upcoming seasons. Sources close to production say many of the older children are increasingly reluctant to put their complex, often painful relationships on display for reality TV. Ultimately, their updates paint a picture of two young women who have chosen acceptance over ongoing conflict. They're not cutting Kody out entirely, but they're also not pretending the hurts of the past have disappeared. Both seem focused on protecting their mental health, nurturing their own families, in Maddie's case, and maintaining strong connections with their mothers and siblings. One fan summed it up perfectly under Maddie's post. "This feels like the most mature version of We're Okay. But we're not okay I've ever seen from this family." Hearing Isabelle and Maddie speak so openly, yet gently, about their famous father may signal the final chapter in the story of Kody as the central figure holding the family together. In a recent emotional interview, Kody himself made a rare admission that stunned longtime Sister Wives viewers. He acknowledged, openly and on record, that he did not always treat his former sister wives with the fairness and respect they deserved. Kody's candid admission came during a rare solo interview on the Reality Life with Kate Casey podcast released on December 2nd, 2025. This marked one of the few times the TLC patriarch has spoken publicly without Robyn by his side since the explosive Season 19 tell-all. When host Kate Casey asked him directly whether he believed he had been fair to Janelle, Christine, and Mary during the final years of their plural marriages, the 56-year-old paused for nearly 10 seconds, an eternity on audio, before answering. "No," he said quietly. "If I'm being honest, no, I wasn't fair. Not even close. I can make all the excuses in the world, COVID, loyalty tests, feeling overwhelmed, but at the end of the day, I picked favorites. I protected one relationship at the expense of the others, and I justified it to myself because I was scared. That's not leadership. That's cowardice." The confession immediately went viral in Sister Wives fan communities, with many calling it the closest thing to a public apology the three ex-wives are likely to receive from Kody. Looking back, he reflected on 2020 and 2021. "I see a man who is panicking. I thought if I controlled everything, the rules, the visits, who was safe, I could keep the family from falling apart. Instead, I accelerated it. I pushed people away who had been with me for decades because they wouldn't play by rules that honestly, even I didn't always follow." Kody specifically referenced the infamous CO guidelines, which became a breaking point for Janelle and Christine. "I turned my home into a fortress, but only for certain people. Robyn's kids were struggling with anxiety, so I gravitated toward them. I told myself I was being a good dad to them, but I wasn't being a good husband to Janelle or Christine, or even a good father to most of my other kids. I see that now." Perhaps most strikingly, he addressed the long-standing accusation that he emotionally abandoned Mary years before their legal divorce in 2023. "Mary got the worst of it," he admitted, voice cracking. "I checked out of that marriage emotionally probably 15 years before it officially ended. I kept her in limbo because leaving felt like failure, and I didn't want to be the guy who couldn't make polygamy work. So I just stopped trying. That was cruel. She deserves someone who was all in or all out. I gave her neither." When asked if he had personally apologized to Mary, Janelle, and Christine, Kody confirmed he had reached out privately. "I've spoken to each of them individually in the last year. Not for cameras, not for the show, just man to woman. I told Mary I was sorry for stringing her along. I told Janelle I was sorry for dismissing her needs and making her feel like she had to choose between me and her children. I told Christine I was sorry for how I handled Isabel's surgery and for acting like her leaving was some kind of betrayal instead of me failing her first." He added that the conversations were difficult but necessary, though he stopped short of saying the ex-wives had fully forgiven him. Fans quickly noted the timing of the interview, just weeks before the Season 19 finale and only months after Janelle and Christine launched their joint Plexus and Peace live stream series, which routinely shades Kody without ever naming him directly. Many fans speculate that Kody's podcast appearance was a preemptive attempt to control the narrative ahead of new episodes. Footage had already surfaced of him claiming he had no regrets about how things ended. Yet the tone of this interview was markedly different from his defensive tell-all appearances. For perhaps the first time in years, he spoke without blaming his exes for abandoning the family or painting himself as the victim of disloyal wives. "I spent a long time being angry," Kody admitted. Angry at Christine for leaving first, angry at Janelle for not fighting harder, angry at Mary for existing in that limbo I created. But anger was easier than guilt. Guilt means you have to change. And changing at my age, after defending my choices for so long, that's terrifying. He also spoke about his current monogamous marriage to Robyn, revealing that even she has encouraged him to own his mistakes. "Robyn has told me more than once, you can't heal what you won't name. She lived through all of it too. She saw how I withdrew from the others. She's not blameless in everything that happened, but she's been pushing me to look in the mirror." When asked whether he believes polygamy itself was the problem, Kody gave a surprisingly nuanced answer. "I don't think polygamy was doomed from the start, but the version I practiced in the end definitely was. I stopped living the principles I claimed to believe in. I stopped treating my wives as equals. But once that happened, it was already over. I just didn't want to admit it." As the interview wrapped, Kate Casey asked the question every fan was wondering. Does Kody want reconciliation with his estranged children? "More than anything," he replied, visibly emotional. "Some of them may never want me back in their lives the way I hope, and I have to live with that. But I'm trying. I'm showing up differently now. No cameras, no audience, just me trying to be the dad I should have been all along." Whether this marks a genuine turning point or simply another chapter in the long, messy Brown family saga remains to be seen. But for the first time in years, Kody Brown publicly admitted what millions of viewers have suspected since season 15, the collapse of his plural family wasn't just about CO rules or loyalty tests. In a moment of self-deprecating honesty that left fans doing double takes, Kody even acknowledged, in his own words, "Wow, apparently I'm in a hole." The silver-haired patriarch, who spent the better part of 15 seasons defending every decision with the fervor of a polygamous prophet, has finally turned the spotlight inward. During the December 1st, 2025 episode of the TLC juggernaut Sister Wives, Kody dropped a line so unexpectedly humble, it felt like it came straight from a therapy session rather than a scripted confessional. "I don't want to say an expert, but I have potential," he admitted to his wife, Robyn Brown. His voice a mix of chagrin and that signature Kody bravado. Robyn, ever supportive, responded without missing a beat, "You can be rough for sure." The moment came amid Kody's much-hyped apology tour, a segment teased in mid-season trailers where the 56-year-old father of 18 attempts to mend fences with his 3 ex-wives, Mary, Janelle, and Christine. After years of finger-pointing over COVID rule enforcement, public declarations about not loving his former spouses, and rigid control that alienated his family, Kody's latest revelation felt like a genuine crack in his armor. Fans on Reddit have even dubbed it Kody's villain origin story, finally getting a rewrite. The episode, titled Regrets and Revelations, follows Kody's appearance on Fox's Special Forces World's Toughest Test, where grueling physical and emotional challenges reportedly forced him to confront his role in the family's implosion. "I was so hurt, so angry, that I took a knife and swung it so hard I cut myself," he explained, referencing his infamous tell-all outburst when he lashed out at his exes for abandoning the plural marriage covenant. He went on to retract his previous claim that he never loved Mary, Janelle, or Christine, calling it a really crappy thing to say to the mothers of 13 of my children. "That was me being defensive, not truthful," he added, eyes downcast in a rare moment of vulnerability. But how did it all come to this? Sister Wives has chronicled the Browns' journey from a tight-knit fundamentalist Mormon clan in Utah to a scattered, mostly monogamous household in Arizona. Kody's spiritual marriages to Mary 1990-2023, Janelle 1993-2024, and Christine 1994-2021 crumbled under financial woes, the fallout from past property disputes, and Kody's increasingly strict control during the pandemic. Christine's exit set off a domino effect, with Janelle and Mary eventually leaving as well, leaving Robyn, married to Kody since 2010, as his sole partner. The fallout included estrangement from most of his older children and heartbreaking public callouts from Gabriel, Gwendolyn, and the late Garrison, who tragically died by suicide in 2024. Fans have long accused Kody of favoritism toward Robyn and her children, Solomon, plus her 3 from a previous relationship, Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna, a charge he indirectly addressed in this episode. I gravitated to what felt safe, Kody confessed. Robyn's household was the one that aligned with my fears during CO. But that meant I was absent for the others, as a husband, as a dad. That's on me. It's a far cry from his season 18 rants, where he blamed his exes for choosing independence over family. The apology tour itself has become a spectacle of awkward, heartfelt reconciliations. Kody started with Janelle, meeting her at a neutral coffee shop in Flagstaff. I dismissed your needs. Made you feel like you had to choose between me and the kids, he admitted, fidgeting with a napkin. Janelle, ever pragmatic at 56, nodded without gushing. Actions over words? Kody, she said coolly. We've got Coyote past the cell. Let's focus on that before we hug it out. Their conversation quickly shifted into business mode, hashing out the stalled $4.5 million property sale that had left the family in limbo. Yet, there were signs of a thaw. Janelle admitted she's open to co-parenting better for the sake of kids like Logan and Madison. Next was Mary, the original wife whose 30-year marriage ended amid what many called emotional neglect. Over a tense lunch at a vegan spot of her choice, Kody tackled the elephant in the room: the years of limbo following her infertility struggles and the fallout from a catfishing scandal. I checked out emotionally long before the divorce, he admitted. I kept you hanging because leaving felt like admitting failure. That was selfish and cruel. Mary, now 54 and thriving in Utah, teared up but held firm. I deserved clarity, not crumbs. But hearing you own it, that's progress. They parted with a stiff hug. Progress, but not a hallmark moment. The sit-down with Christine was the most emotionally charged. Held at her new home in Utah with her husband David Woolley awkwardly in the background, Kody apologized for the Isabelle scoliosis surgery fiasco in 2020, when his CO paranoia kept him from accompanying her to North Carolina. I prioritized my rules over your pain, he said. And saying I didn't love you, that was a lie born out of my hurt. Christine, radiant at 52 after a post-weight loss transformation, let out a bitter laugh. You said a lot of things, Kody. But this tour, it's for the cameras, right? He insisted it wasn't, citing his Special Forces epiphany. The directing staff broke me down, made me see I'm the common denominator in all this mess. David tried to ease the tension with a dad joke deflection, but Christine's skepticism lingered. Robyn's apology segment flipped the script. Tearful and introspective, she told Kody, "We've had a hard run. I owe you an apology for not speaking up when you were rough on the others." It's a moment that nods to long-running fan theories that Robyn enabled Kody's tunnel vision. But she pushes back gently. "I love you, but I don't always agree with how you handle conflict," she tells him. Kody's quick quip lightens the mood, and they laugh about his rough edges. But beneath the humor lies the reality of their monogamous pivot. Kody goes further, flatly stating he'd never do plural marriage again, a bombshell that leaves Robyn visibly processing. The ripple effects hit social media almost immediately. Isabelle Brown, 22, posted a cryptic Instagram story. "Forgiveness is a process, not a switch." Maddie Brush, 30, shared a family photo without Kody, captioning it, "Boundaries, sec, peace." Meanwhile, non-binary sibling Leon Brown took to TikTok to mock Kody as a joke of a father, echoing earlier frustrations fans saw from Gabriel. Even Mary's daughter, Mariah, has gone radio silent on family posts. Critics and fans are divided. Is this Kody's redemption arc, or just savvy PR ahead of season 20's finale? He's saying the words, but where's the change? One Reddit user vented, Others praise the growth. Better late than never. At least he's trying. TLC insiders hint at even more raw footage in upcoming tell-alls, including a teased claim that one ex-wife tipped him off about another's affair, a storyline still unresolved, leaving fans buzzing. Meanwhile, the Browns are carving out their new normal. Janelle is diving into essential oils, Christine is planning a Vegas vow renewal, and Mary is exploring a solo spinoff. Amid it all, Cody's admission stands as a pivotal what-if. Could owning his whole potential actually rebuild bridges? Or is it too little, too late for a family already fractured? One thing is certain. In the world of sister wives, where drama is always part of the family business, Cody's rare self-roast is the plot twist no one saw coming. Tune in Sundays, October 9th on TLC to see whether the apologies stick or if old tensions flare once again.